Hello everyone, this is Brahmin. So today we're going to be talking about the practice for the basketball for Georgia State. So first off, going into the practice, there's a bunch of students on the left side, there are some students on the right side, and they're divided into separate sections. And basically, in each section, they have different drills, which they end up switching up. And there's different types of communications that the coaches have used on the players to get them engaged, to keep them going. And the two types of communications they used in the basketball was mental and physical communication. So let's talk about mental communication. So a little bit of being assertive with a tone of voice, talking to the players after they practice the drill, giving them tips, trying to talk to them and see what's going on through their head, try to understand the player to help them improve. And for the physical communication part, it was all about ball control, about sending them the ball, having them deal with it, letting them know they have to communicate with their players and do the physical kind of communication through that a basketball team would do. And the flow of the practice went accordingly to how the students were doing. When the students were doing something wrong, the coaches would let them know as they were doing it wrong, and they would give them tips right away. They would tell them, "No, do this, do that, do this," and they would see what they could tell them to do to improve, and they would have to keep up with what the coach is telling them to do. So it was a constant flow. When one thing was done, boom, you go to the next one. When one player is done, you go to the next player. And the ball was moving and moving. There were people passing it around. So the structure was basically there was a lot of people in on it. It was more like climbing a ladder for the athletes. It was getting more and more complex every time. They were using the different types of techniques, and they were using different techniques to put together to make it a little bit more complicated, so that the players would have a feeling of how it would be like in the game itself. And so one of the concepts from the book um, and class discussion that I saw in this practice was hand-to-hand contact, understanding the student, and going through the progressions. Now, the progressions all depend on the pace of the students themselves and how they're doing. If the students are not doing that well, then it's going to be a little bit slower. Their progression is going to be a little bit different, and each player has their own specific abilities that they're good at, and some other players' weakness might be another player's strength. Some other player's strength might be some other player's weakness. So it was really about understanding the students. It was mostly about getting them to be motivated to keep doing what they need to do, and because if the coach doesn't do that, then the students are going to be confused. They're not going to know what to do, and something that I learned from this practice that I can use in my own life situation is how to be assertive in a positive way to get everyone moving. Correct the athletes as they go and give them tips on how to improve. These are very important things because if the athletes just keep on making the wrong move every single time and the coach doesn't correct them until after, if they wait and they wait and they wait until they keep doing it on and on, this becomes a bad habit that stays with the athletes, and the athletes are going to have a hard time making a change from that bad habit. So this is the reason why the coaches, it's better for them to immediately correct them if they can, and try to give them the best output so they can improve. Thank you.